Today we do a Sherpa review panel, but we're looking at domains going to auction on the GoDaddy platform for the NamesCon Conference on September 10th. Also, just for clarification, we talked for a while about a therapy domain. Just to be clear, the domain is therapists.org, similar to therapists.com, which Kate Buckley sold in April for $91,000. You can see that show as well on DomainSherpa.com. Enjoy the show. Hey, Sherpa Network, thanks for joining us today. I'm Tess Diaz, executive producer of DomainSherpa.com, and today we're doing a review panel looking at the domains going to auction live during the NamesCon auction on Thursday, September 10th. On GoDaddy.com, you can go to auctions.godaddy.com and click for the live event. But hey, we have three fantastic Sherpas here. I would like each of you gentlemen to introduce yourselves. We've never had this combo before, and Drew Wash joining me for the first time. You've never been on the show with me. I'm really glad you and your mascots are here. So why don't you go first, introduce yourself.
So I'm Drew Wash, and I buy domains, got a lot of great investment domains, and I buy specifically typically to develop. So we have like towing.com, djs.com, and we love what we do. We've been in domaining for quite some time, flying under the brand radar of guys like the Toby here, our mascot for towing.com. And so yeah, hopefully that tells a little bit. But I'm pretty active in domaining ever since I figured out that this is kind of my home, this domain industry that I didn't know exists until just a few years ago. So
super cool. Well, we're delighted to have you and your mascot on the show. Mark Levine from a new location. What's going on, Mark? Introduce yourself real quick.
I am Mark Levine. I have a new location. I think I appear like maybe I'm jaundice in this video, but nothing I can do about it. I've only been in this house for 5 days.
Oh my gosh, and you're taking the time to be on this show. Thank you.
Yeah, so of course, I've been on here a couple times. I love domaining. Domaining and fine food is about my main hobbies. And I follow Drew on Twitter. I love the development stuff. I always wish I could do that, but I long ago stopped even thinking about that. And I met Hobi. You probably don't remember, but I met you at the GoDaddy office at the NamesCon at that party they had. And then Tess, it seems like a million years ago, we had that amazing dinner.
I know, it was so good.
I know.
More to come. Definitely share your hobbies of domaining and foodieing. Hobi, what's going on? Introduce yourself, yo.
Yeah, my name is Hobi. I'm one of the three co-founders of Loomis Domain Brokerage. We're an end-user focused domain asset brokerage. We do our best to get domain names in the hands of end users and help create liquidity for domain investors and sellers alike. And been doing this for, actually, I think this October will be my entirety in the space will be my 7-year anniversary. So I've been at this for a little bit, and just every day is a new lesson, and it is forever changing and exciting.
Super. Good to have you all. I am in Southern California today. So happy for a change of pandemic scenery. No green screen. Hope you're enjoying and feel like you're getting a little outdoor time too. So let's do this. What's new, Sherpas? We're going to talk about a purchase or sale you've made over the past few weeks. And first, don't say what you paid for it or what you sold it for. Just say the domain and if it was an acquisition or a sale. And then we'll take it from there. You guys guess so that we get to hear a little bit about your thoughts on the domains in the market before you know the actual price. My internet is slow, so bear with me if I don't have stuff in front of me right away. Who's first? Do you guys know?
Hobi or Mark. Mark.
I am.
All right, Mark.
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna go with a purchase I made. I'm in the publishing industry. I haven't talked to you guys very much, but I know you know that, Tess. So anytime I buy like a name, it's one where I think maybe I'd use it someday. And I just bought planetpress.com. So planet, like PL, like a planet, like Earth, the moon.
Like Pluto?
Yes. So I bought Planet Press.
Like press release. Press like what you do, publishing. Okay,
yes.
Planet Press. That's good. Nice little alliteration. All right. So you bought it.
I bought it.
Okay. All right, boys. What do you think you paid for it?
Press.
Yeah. Brandables are tough. So I would say that would be a I always feel like I can insult, but I'm going to say like $120.
Okay.
Okay. So my audio, someone was calling me as you were talking, so I missed some of that, and my audio just muted for a second. So I'm not sure if I'm overlooking details on this, but Drew's right. It's a 2-word. It's .com. Brandables could go for $100, and then they could go for $1 million. It just depends on the variety of factors. But this is a 2-word .com, and it's alliteration. And you bought this to use, or did you buy this to resell?
I bought it. I mean, there's a number of companies using the same domain on different extensions. So I really bought it as an investment, but I like it enough where my non-compete in my publishing is up in a year, and I think it's a great name for a publishing company. So that's why I bought it. But I mean, it could, if someone paid it for tomorrow, I'm never going to think about it again.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, so since it is a 2-word, it's a .com, the alliteration too really kind of helps drive the value on that one. My headspace, if you're buying from an investment standpoint, obviously, if you could use it as well, I'm thinking around $1,500, maybe not higher than $2,000 you paid on it.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of good information added there.
Well, I know.
Extensions.
And there's no right or wrong answer. It's just, and that's the thing with domains, because the valuation is so subjective, and a lot of it does depend on who your buyer is and the situation.
Well, it's sad too. It's sad too. We could run a quick Google search and be like, "Damn, that's $1 billion company."
But you're not allowed to on this show.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Oh well, there goes Tessa's internet.
Well, I'll definitely say why Tess is there. That because you bought with purpose, anytime I buy a domain with purpose, that's always when the price goes up. So I'd probably pull, 120 if it was not for purpose. For purpose, I'll add a 0. We'll just go with 1,200.
Okay, so both of you guys were really close. I paid $1,300, and I was like on a run, and the auction was happening, and so I just had to do it. But then a bunch of I think it was on NameJet, and a bunch of my domain buddies, they have they know everyone's bidding handle. So I got a text and it said, congratulations, that was a good buy. And then they told me who I beat out, who's a guy who I really respect. So then I felt like, okay, if that guy was willing to pay $10 less than me, then I feel it's a great buy on its own. And if I have a use for it, it's even better. But
and that's the crazy thing too. It's like when you're buying from an investment, it really gets down to like $50 or $100. Like, should I really pay that? But when you sell it, I mean, ideally you'd be looking at margins, double, triple, quadruple, what you paid for it ideally. Because when you get in that realm, the difference between an indie you're paying $3,000 or $4,000 versus 10 or 15 really isn't that big a deal. I mean, it just depends if they're going to use it, who they are. So I get where you've been in. I mean, when we actually got the Loomis.com, we were in the middle of just bidding, and it was like, damn, because we wanted something with light, and we just kept going. It's like, fuck. I come to find out later, it was like I was bidding against 2 large domain investors. I was like, you guys are the ones who drove this up? Are you kidding me? So I get where you're coming from.
Pretty cool. Well, congratulations. It's you're going to get a lot of value out of using it, and that's more important for you in your situation than anything else. And, just so you know, because Drew, I don't think you've ever done the whole guessing in front of an audience thing, but just to be clear, it is no judgment on your valuation or whatever. It's
that's
you're here because you're an expert in this space. on domains. But everybody's situation is different, and we're just all giving our different thought process and perspective. So anyway, you've already earned your stripes, or whatever that saying is.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've definitely had plenty of them on Twitter where the judgment happens and they're like, what the heck were you thinking paying that much? But hey, I pay what it's worth, right? That's what you're supposed to do.
And what it's worth to you.
Or what I value it at. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the difference.
Exactly.
All right, Hobi, go. What'd you buy or sell lately?
Okay, so usually I talk about ones that I broker. I'll talk about one that I specifically actually owned and sold. The domain is sendfuse.com. Yeah, what do you think I sold it? Because since it's sold, what do you guys think I sold it?
Fuse, like Fuse, F-U-S-E?
Yep.
Okay, sendfuse.com. You sold it.
Who's guessing first?
No, randomly, yeah.
You are, Mark, because you opened your mouth.
Go for it, Mark.
I'm going to say, I mean, these are always hard because without knowing, without having, other than I love the keyword fuse, I'm going to say you sold it for $6,800.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing about these kind of domain names. They could be anywhere between what I would sell it for and what Mike Mann would report that he sold it on Twitter for. So I'm going to say 6,800.
Okay. So this domain I sold via After Nick's Buy It Now, $2,100. So you guys were in the range. The thing I wanted to mention on this one is a lot of times, when people talk about their sales, like people really mainly report, I sold this for $1 million. And it's like people tend to benchmark everything around that. But the majority of sales, they're really this, I mean, you guys know, just for the guys watching as well, it's just these lower end ones. One of the important takeaways from that is that was a 60-day-old hand reg.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was just about to ask.
Why did you buy it?
So, I've recently just started investing more because I've done it before in the past, but I've really just kind of started doubling down and really trying to invest in more domain names. And so without giving away too much of that information, I was just combing through a list of domains. That was one that was in the process of expiring and just hand registered it.
It's a
and then 60 days later, it sold.
Huh.
So you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Nope, that's why. Yeah. So for those, it's just like, especially with speed, because once you register, you really have that 1 year window after the renewal ends that you really have to make a decision. So cash, bird in hand now is far more valuable than money later, because then you can use that knowledge to keep doing better and better and better. And it's just one of the things that I'd heard from a CEO years ago that's just stuck with me is there are a few problems that can't be fixed with more sales. So if I can sell names now, screw it, they're gone, and I'll just get a better one tomorrow.
Well, I'd certainly sell that every day. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great quote too. Very true. Yeah, good job. All right, Drew, what'd you buy or sell lately?
So the domain I decided to bring up, hopefully I have it in my possession because it's been processing for a week or so here, is developit.com. Developit.com.
Nice.
Just purchased this. Well, I'm still in the process, I guess, but it's paid for, so I consider it purchased. I believe it was Stu After Nick. Hopefully it's not one of you guys that I'm buying it from.
That's a great name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay.
Yeah, I can jump on this one first, and Mark, you went first.
IT. Cool.
Okay. Sorry, you go ahead, Tess. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, sorry, my internet stinks. I'm like, I can only pull up anything on my phone. I'm taking notes on our call on my phone. So what'd you go, Hobi, go.
Okay. So I know firsthand that the keyword, the CPC bidding on anything developing, web development, PHP development, Laravel developers, app developers is fucking insane. So it's like, that's a really good keyword. And it's with the advent of everything moving to digital at such an alarming pace, I can only see that one going up in value more and more. And so we're asking what you paid for it, right?
Yep.
Did you pay $8,500?
All right.
I'm going to wait to tell you.
Okay.
I mean, I would think in that range also. I mean, and especially as someone who, I follow the kind of stuff you develop. So I could see how it would be a marketable, a very valuable name. And even with the cost per click stuff, if you're going to use it as a directory, I think you do a bunch of those. I mean, I guess I would say, I think I'd say 10,000.
Yeah. Which very much could have very much. So let me backfill the story a little bit. I bought this, as I do a lot of my domains, when I'm at home sitting with my laptop having a couple of drinks. So drinking and domaining.
It's dangerous combo.
Yeah, exactly. And I had just finished buying itworker.com. And I just kind of was Googling around or just looking for domains with IT in it. And I made let's see what they would take on this $1,100 offer. Of course, did not take that offer, but came back with $4,800, which is what I bought it at.
Ooh.
So I was shocked. That was my peak, because I wasn't even thinking through the development lens at the time, but I'm falling in love with the domain now. That's the reason why I'm like, please come through, make sure it hits the account. But
that's
I'm
a five-figure
sure
name all day. Yeah, I mean, you do good on the buy on that one. I mean, that's because it commands such. It just tells the user exactly what's going to go on with this brand, and it conveys the message like that. There's no additional marketing needed. Like, that's sick.
Yeah. And like Mark, I plan on it's going to be part of my business. It may very well be part of how I brand it. It's like, hey Drew, what do you do with domains? I develop it. What are you going to do with that domain? Develop it. Like, it's like, come on, this is.
So when I email you
to
trying to buy a name on behalf of a client, you're going to hit me with, well, I bought it for development purposes, but what's the offer?
I guarantee you'll hear that. Yes. Anytime anybody asks, it's always for development.
Okay.
Nice. Very nice. All three of you, those are great sales. Congrats. And acquisition. So let's take a moment. I'll tell you about the sponsors for today's show who support us in our mission to educate folks in the domain industry. So it's time for the second part of the review. We're looking at the NamesCon auction. So NamesCon, really the main conference for our industry, is going to be online this year, September 9th, 10th, and 11th, right? And Thursday, September 10th, is the auction itself. And we, actually, Drew, this is how Drew and I started talking. Drew is doing a review live before the auction starts as part of the NamesCon conference on what domains will be great for development. And immediately following that is going to be the live auction. And since we don't have like Wayne Wheat, the auctioneer, or whatever, DomainSherpa is going to do like sportscasting RedZone of the auction. So I think it'll be really fun. We'll definitely bring some great energy to it. But we want to start looking at those domains and see what you guys think. I know yesterday there were 60 domains in the auction. Joe Styler at GoDaddy told me that this week they're going to try to add about 20 more, but like that's a whole week from now, not like today and tomorrow. So what do you guys think? What jumps out at you? What do you think are really good buys, good prices, or just plain old good domains? Whatever you really want to talk about that stands out to you. Hobi, you're numero uno.
Awesome. Well, I'm pulling up the list now, and I was looking at this, and the one that jumps out the most at me, and I don't normally like EDs, but I really like Recharge because it's just such a positive branding message. It can mean a variety of things. And the question is, what?
Say the domain again clearly for everybody who listens.
Not a problem. Recharged.com. RECHARGED. I like that name a lot. It is a one word. It's just a really overall positive connotation. I mean, it could be, recharge your sales team, recharge something, just do something better than what you're already doing, which is just an overall great message for a brand to convey. I mean, for that one, I know it's going to go for more than what I'd probably pay for it. But if you can get that one for a low 5, around 10 to 15, I think it's a solid buy. I suspect that's going to probably hit 30, to be honest with you, maybe honestly even more than that. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the range that if you can get secure at that one, I mean, you've made money on the buy at that point.
That's a good point. And all those like self-care and wellness apps were already booming before this shitstorm pandemic hit. And I mean, that recharged is what you want to feel when you're done with a wellness or self-care
I just got back in the chiropractor earlier today, and I feel recharged as hell.
.com.
There you go.
Nice. You want to look at any others, or you want to pass the baton? What do you?
I'll
I don't know.
I'll throw the baton. I'll hurl the torch. Whatever we got to do. But yeah, that's the one that really jumps up at me. Oh, actually, one of the questions was things that I'd recommend maybe people stay away from, and it's .com. It really, from a sales standpoint and just an overall knowledge that's available standpoint, which is a very important part, is I think kind of the ideal TLD in general for people to stick to. There's a lot of money you can make in other ones, but since there's less sales, there's less information available, and I will argue the risk is a bit higher. But that's not to say you can't make money, but if someone's looking for kind of a rule of thumb to stand by, I'd probably recommend, actually I would recommend to focus on .com, as that's kind of the premium extension.
Thank you very much. Drew, what jumps out at you?
I've seen a couple of them, a lot of them that I'm like, ooh, this is, would never make the live auction at a NamesCon Live. But I see quite a few of them that I'm actually a fan of. So let me give you the kind of shocker for me, I think, which is I like Get Ripped. GetRipped.com. I love fitness domain names, and I love it when it's a common phrase that people toss around.
Okay.
So you got all these what is it? Jarhead or anyhow, those big beefy guys that are smart, bigger than they are smart, and they're all out to get ripped. And I see a lot of opportunity as far as development, but also a lot of people that would be interested in that one. So that's one of my top ones. And of course, I like some of the classic ones that I would pursue. Which let me see. I think artschools.com. Everybody else likes that one as well. That currently has 25 bids as of right now. That one's pretty nice. Now, one I think is kind of overrated, so sorry whoever's selling this one, but dentalschools.com, which, if I'm not mistaken, had a pretty high reserve even. Their reserve is 5 to 10, and I'm not even sure what anybody would do with the plural version of dental schools on that. And that's coming from me, who loves plurals typically.
Yeah. I feel like there was something I remember from years. You know how you research domains and values and you learn.
I think we lost Tess.
Sorry, am I freezing?
You froze a little.
You were digitized.
Oh, sorry. Dentals, something about dentists has some phenomenal CPC or something. What is that?
Cost per click, cost per lead, cost per click. I talk about this from Domain to Profit pretty often. Dentist is one of the big ones. Cost per lead, because chances are, even with your insurance, you pay a lot of cash when you go to the dentist. So there's a lot they pay good money for leads and for customers and per click. So dentists in general, I love dental domain names. I'm always looking for a great one. This one in particular, though, it doesn't quite fall into that piece. It's a miss.
All right, good to know from somebody like you. Now, Get Ripped. What do you think is a good price for someone to pay on that?
Well, let me check the reserve on it. If I'm not mistaken, the reserve was pretty reasonable. I think it's going to sell. It's going to be something that I don't have it in front of me, but I want to say it's like 1 to 5. I would pay if it goes for 3 or less, I will all day buy that.
So for something like that, my thing though, I think, and I'm asking you because I'm curious, when you say development, I could think of a marketing campaign using that. Or when you say development, what would you just sell, an e-commerce? I mean, I know that's a lot easier said than done. What would you do with it?
I would look at who says Get Ripped, right? It's going to be guys that are looking. There's so much. Fitness is. There's some great statistics on fitness where we spend a lot of money on wasted food, but we also spend in treating obesity. But we also spend a ton of money on fitness type stuff, and it's all discretionary income. So when it comes to Get Ripped, I love the idea of Mark, the normal thing that I do, finding places that have, lifting gyms, programs, online courses for, getting ripped, cutting out your body or what, anybody that would ever say get ripped would benefit from going to whatever this site has to get information on it, whether it's, just think of like creatine and those products that people buy on a routine basis. A lot of revenue opportunities around the market that would be the ones that say or here get ripped. So yeah, marketing campaign is right in line with it, but I always like taking it the step further and getting my taste of it when it comes to a marketing campaign.
And supplements have so many affiliates, super easy to set up. Yeah, definitely. Very cool. All right. Good question, Hobi. Mark, what do you see?
Here are the 4 that I liked, and that list has changed because I looked yesterday and I saw it was different today. They had added a number. I like therapy.org. I think that's the market for therapy right now and people who need it is through the roof. And it seems like a, very authoritative. Obviously it's a .org and it could lead you out to the types that you would need and in your state. And I liked it. I mean, I probably wouldn't be a buyer of it. I don't like it like that, but I like it. I like Privacy Lawyer a lot. That's another big need where you have people getting trolled all the time and, people's stuff getting compromised and, lawyers themselves are notoriously underpayers for domains. So, I don't know what I would invest in it, but I think I like it. I mean, obviously it's, exactly what this person does. I loved Recharged also. I used to own published.com with the ED and, we had a site on it and even though when you pronounce it, it's a little hard to understand, like the ED sometimes gets lost, but visually Recharged is a great looking name. I liked it a lot. And my sleeper, and I buy these kind all day long, is blockprint.com.
Okay. I was looking at that one.
You have the blockchain stuff. I mean, you have that, and print is always a great, I buy a lot of names, keywords that are somewhat related to publishing. It's the kind of names I love and have done well selling. And, I love anything that has anything related, even tangentially to publishing. Even obviously printing could be a million things, but, it's a wheelhouse I'm pretty comfortable in. So,
it's pretty cool that you mentioned like blockchain and Lord knows how that's going to impact publishing, but it also like makes me think of like the printing press and the blocks of letters and stuff like that.
Yes. I mean, there could be so many. I always try to when I buy a name, I always think of, if I can't think of one person who would buy it or one type of business, I don't buy the name. And then sometimes I'm dead on, the buyer is exactly who I thought it would be. And sometimes it's used for something that, like I had this name once, urbanpress.com. So in my head, I saw, kind of a hip, younger, inner city maybe kind of publishing venture. And it was bought by a Canadian juice company, like a fresh juice.
Yeah.
And it never occurred to me, with it, I would have never thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and domains that have multiple potential audiences or industries are a big deal too. Very nice. Therapy.org, I feel like, didn't Kate Buckley sell something in the therapy space recently? Does anybody have any thoughts on what they think the market value is right now of therapy.org or what they think it should go for in auction?
I saw the reserve was 10 to 25 and I love it as a .org. For the most part, I like Hobi was talking about, sticking to .coms, and which I agree with. And .org only in those cases where a .org where people might trust it more, which I like. But if that reserve's closer to 25, then that's going to be tight. I think therapy.com could be worth 25. Whether it would sell or not is kind of the question. But it's worth whatever they can monetize it as. Yeah, I love it though. It's a great domain, and I think especially even from a directory standpoint, when you're not the one offering the advice, you're just bringing people to the idea of therapy and getting therapy resources. Could be a great domain. It's right at the top of that reserve though that I would consider a good price for it though.
Tess, is your twin sister on the
Good
call?
point. Oh, I'm afraid it's the call phone because the last time I did that, it hung up on everyone. Oh, look, I'm here twice. Creepy. All right,
Yeah,
I'm gonna try.
multi-camera angles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This
High
is cutting
production
edge
value.
DomainSherpa.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. I heard what you had to say, and more importantly, our audience heard what you have to say. And I think that that was good. I don't remember. I wish I could remember. Nobody offhand, Kate Buckley, some therapy domain that sold really recently. But my internet stinks, and I don't want to wreck things by looking it up. So, I mean, in general, my internet's fine. It's just the videoing. It's you guys.
Okay.
So, anyway, I don't want to take away from the show. So before we jump into the next section, let's hear from our advertisers who support us in our educational mission.
FD was built by domain investors to increase your inquiries, sales, and profit. Forget spreadsheets and archived emails. Manage your entire investment portfolio in one place using a secure and completely confidential platform. Learn more at FT.com. That's EFTY, FT.com.
So we're doing pretty well, staying on track here for a hard stop. Thank you, Sherpas, for your time. For the third section, we're just going to look at what's going on in the industry, and particularly with NamesCon coming up, what each of you are looking forward to at NamesCon. If you're speaking and want to talk about your panels or what people should look out for, go for it. Or if you have sessions you're interested in attending or whatever you want to talk about. Drew, I'm pretty sure you're up first here, right? Yes, you are.
Yeah, I believe so. So I'm looking forward to hopping. I'm curious about these tables that they have as to how that'll work to be able to socialize. Because I have to say, I spend most of my time behind a desk, behind a laptop. And it's one of those things where I really look forward to being able to see and mingle with other domainers. Like this is great stuff. So I'm hoping that can be part of the experience. I hope it goes over well. I'm optimistic for it. But yeah, I'll mention I do have a session at NamesCon, which is from domain to profit, NamesCon Auction Edition. So I'm going to look over the domains that we have that are going to be up on the auction block and talk about businesses, business plans that might work for those specific domains. So if you're looking at the domains on the auction and considering them from a development standpoint, it'd be a fun session to look at. And in general, I'll try to make sure there's some, good little nuggets of wisdom and experience for turning domains into businesses that you can apply to any domain, including the one that's in the back of your portfolio that you want to develop, but you just, haven't pulled out yet. So maybe we can get you some wisdom to, or some kind of confidence at least to step up and do that. So.
That's really cool. I love your positivity to it. And you're right. Everyone has that in the back, it's on the back burner, really. Yeah. Cool. All right. How about you, Mark?
Well, I did not even know NamesCon was happening. So
well, I've
been really busy. I'm moving,
just
my new company. I think last time I was on, we talked about it. We have a bunch of investors interested in coming in, and it's been just between I know, between like the moving and that, and my domaining has really been, last month I had my best month ever.
Nice.
And this month I'm also, I'm doing amazing. And I'm a hit singles and doubles guy. I could tell you every name I paid more than $1,000 for. I bet I could count on one hand. And I've been doing really well. I'm an early IO investor, and
nice.
they have. I thought they were I'd say at the end of last year, I felt they were kind of dipping, but they are on fire, those things. And I can't even replace the inventory with anything good. The aftermarket auctions are crazy. I mean, I'm not paying $1,000 for a wholesale IO, no matter how good you think it is. I mean, but I've been doing, I was going to use one of my IO sales in the thing today, but I just decided to do a purchase. So that has been great. And the most surprising thing to me are the .ggs. I know nothing about gaming. I watched an esports thing on HBO, and Morgan Linton did a pretty extensive, I think last year he went to some conference, and he's a big gamer and he reported all this stuff. And so I was like, I'm going to buy a few of these, and I probably own 50, maybe 60. And I've sold 3 in the last month for like real,
nice.
good, 1,500, 2,500, 3,000. I mean, like real money. And then when I've seen some of the people who bought them, it's really, it's interesting to see how it's going to be used. I mean, it's not, I think there's obviously the gaming and the team names and whatever, but there's going to be industry around it as well that is going to, because the GG is going to, resonate with a certain audience, their business, will also, someone has to provide the marketing assistance. Someone has to provide, the security stuff. I just think there's, and I mean, I guess the fact that I've been able to, someone who's not touched a video game since the 80s has, had some level of success. That has been, my biggest takeaway. But I'm going to try to maybe come to some of the NamesCon stuff. But, to me, NamesCon is the dinners and the, talking to everyone. And so I'm still, I'm still nostalgic for when it's going to come back for real. But I hope your tacos
for the good food.
Yes, I mean, I spend all year planning, like, where I'm going to eat at the restaurants every night.
That's the fun part, yeah.
Fair enough. No. I do know I've talked a lot with NamesCon, with their team about what they're putting together, and they are working really hard because they know it's going to be a different audience this year, and they really want good quality content. So I think it'll be pretty cool.
The one that Paige Howe did was really good. I thought Paige's thing was really, so I think with, that, I think NamesCon will probably do very well. Because I think, it's, if you present the stuff right, and it's, it's still good information, whether you're sitting there or not. So I think it'll probably do very well.
Yeah. Jason Shepard is doing talk on alternative extensions and what's going on. I would love to, if you guys don't already know each other, to send an intro email. Maybe you guys could have a quick talk, because I bet he would like to give some of your statistics or the info on your 3 sales there. Is that cool?
Sure. I mean, I'm hoping to wake up to my .vc sales, like he did.
Very nice.
That's awesome. He's on a session. That's definitely added to my list.
Yeah. I don't know when it is, but I know it's going to be good. All right, Hobi, how about you?
I wasn't initially planning on going to NamesCon, but now that there are some interesting panels with Drew that I wasn't aware of, maybe I could make an appearance. But it does suck that, the whole pandemic has kind of cut away from really the core focus, Mark was talking about, where it's just the dinners and the socializing and the fun aspects of it. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm hopeful for it. I in no way, NamesCon might change form, but in no way, shape, or form do I ever expect this will be the end of it. It just, maybe have a down year or a down conference here or there, but I'm sure we'll be back in full swing soon.
Nice attitude. Very nice. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope all of you join in for the auction RedZone. I think it's going to be super fun and different and whatever. But thank you for taking the time to share with the whole industry. And as an industry, we continue to level up. And it's because of people like you. So thank you, dear Sherpas. We'll see y'all next time.
Hey, thanks. Nice to see you guys.
See you.
See you guys.
Bye.